Good Thursday morning, social media friends on LinkedIn, Facebook, and the bigger world of YouTube. Thank you for joining me and my special guest in this episode of Selling That House. In case what I'm wearing doesn't tell you what's kind of obvious, I am unfortunately in a part of the US where it's still cold for us. And yes, our temps are tilting in the right direction. But this morning, I had to go out and walk my 3 furry family members so that I can get that done, show up for you, as well as get my special guest prepared to show up for you as well, and actually give you some valuable content for those of you who have your interest, your passion in real estate, wealth, growth, and expansion. So with all of that said, let me do this. Let me make sure my special guest is ready to roll. I think he always is, but I don't want to catch him in a mobile call with his posse, and then we're kind of slowing down a little bit. So let me do this. Let me knock on my guest's door, and let's see what he tells me. Hey, Steve, you ready? I think we're ready for you as well. So let's do this. Audience members, let's give Steve a rock star welcome, both from corporate world, right? His friends who are doing the corporate thing with their W-2 income, but want to make a pivot and a shift, as well as his posse who have left that world, like some of these people. And they are just saying, Steve, Steve, Steve. So let's bring Steve into the conversation right now.
That was an awesome
like
intro.
that?
Thank you, Bill.
Those two groups of people kind of, describe the persona of the people that look up to you, depend on you, and do things with you, right?
Correct. You actually nailed it right on the head.
Yeah. So let's warm you up with some easy softball questions for the social audience, Steve, who don't know you, maybe don't know you well enough. Why don't you give us a 10,000-foot perspective as to what you do day in, day out, as it relates to investing, real estate investing, and maybe talk a little bit about your brand, which is called 𝙃𝙤𝙪 Solutions.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. I have a real passion for real estate investing. I've been doing it for almost 20 years now. And what I primarily do is my company and we purchase multifamily residential units all across the United States. We've been doing this for almost 20 years now. I have a real passion for it. I've written a book about it. I also teach it because I feel as though it's a wonderful industry to get involved in, especially for those that are looking to kind of obtain financial freedom. It really kind of puts things into perspective for me because coming from, as you mentioned earlier in the intro, I came from corporate America where I felt very pigeonholed.
Yeah.
And weren't able to really think outside the box of what I'm told to do on a daily basis. Real estate investing really was able to kind of take my blinders off and kind of see the big picture in terms of how much I can do, how much financial impact I can make on people's lives, as well as my own family.
Yeah.
So it was able to basically just kind of free the shackles in that sense. Not to say corporate America is, evil or anything, but I don't think it was built for certain individuals like myself who kind of were looking for a higher level, a purpose of obtaining financial freedom under my terms and conditions.
Yeah. In other words, you wanted to, let's call it like it is, Steve. You wanted to control your own destiny, right?
Yes. And again, I want to emphasize because I like you said in the introduction, I still have friends that are in the corporate grind, and that's fine. It's not but it's not meant for everybody. And I was blessed enough that I was able to realize that early on in my career, early enough to be able to take some chances, purchase real estate, really understand the business, and like I say all the time, respect the business. And what I mean by respect is taking my time to understand it, meeting with mentors, meeting with people who have done it successfully, taking my time to kind of strategize how I want to go about it, and then being able to afford myself that ability to get into it full time. So, and corporate America helped me as well. So,
Yeah.
you know, I have an accounting background. So for me, everything in life happens for a reason. So from the time I was in school learning about accounting and business to corporate America, kind of taking those skills and honing them in a little bit, and then being able to go into real estate investing and just taking all of that and just really blowing it up.
Wonderful. So why brand the business that you built Alpifa Solutions?
Yeah. So Elpida is a Greek word that means hope. So
Mhm.
I'm a Greek American. I'm first generation American born here. My parents came from a little island in Greece, and to me, I feel like anybody could kind of do the generic thing of kind of slapping their last name and calling it, in my case, Kontos Capital or anything of that nature. I kind of wanted to do something a little bit out of the box.
Okay.
uh, I wanted to create a company a little bit more unique where, you know, it's exactly that people that have hope and aspirations and dreams about getting into this business or even just investing on a more passive level. Either way, kind of creating a one-stop shop for these individuals to be able to get involved, whether it's passively or whether it's someone that wants to build a portfolio like myself or beyond. You know, so
Yeah.
being able to provide the necessary tools as well as teaching the correct mindset and expectations as to how it works,
Yeah.
because as you know, when you're surfing through social media, real estate investing is always glamorized, you know, with the exotic cars, the exotic travel, and you know the good part of it when you
That's
enjoy the
right.
fruit of your labor. But what a lot of people don't see is the daily grind
Yeah.
and all of the work that's involved.
Yeah.
And like I said before, it's not for everybody, but you know you have to go through it and really experience it to see for yourself. And like I said, the coolest thing about my journey is I get to do what I love. So
Yeah.
that's I'm thankful for that every day.
That's good. That's good. Um, at this point, before I forget, Steve, you know this already. I want to do a big shout out, and that's you, our mutual friend, Dave, who connected us together. I'm gonna go off of my own memory. I think at least maybe 2 years ago.
Yes.
Okay,
Hmm.
so Dave, if you're watching this content, yeah, I know you're busy doing what you're doing. So maybe you're watching this as an on-demand recording. A big old thank you from me to you, Dave, for bringing Steve into my world. And Steve, thank you for being open-minded to meet me, have some conversations that led us to be able to do this today. How's that?
Yeah, and thank you, Dave. And that's really nice of you, Bill, because he's a great guy, and it all actually segues from my original story with corporate America. I met him through corporate America through working
Did
with him.
you? Yeah,
You know, so he's an amazing guy, and that's why I believe everything in life happens for a reason. And if I didn't have that job, I would never have met him.
that's true.
So, you know,
Yeah,
having that ability and being able to network, it's one of the things that I think is one of the strong points in going to college.
yeah,
It's not even the education part; it's the networking,
yeah.
and meeting people like David, who was able to link us up, as well as others he's actually brought to me as well. It's a wonderful thing. So
It
again,
is.
it's just I'm really thankful for meeting you, as well as again, thank you, Dave, for what you've done.
Let's now, Steve, pivot the conversation to the core of what you do, what you invest in, and for our social friends. Let me start off with the social friends that know me. Many of you know that I'm in the business of delivering financing, mortgage money to consumers as well as investors who need to and want to own real estate. And so, there's two paths for all of us, right? Do you want to own something and do you want to rent something? Now, Steve, in your world, as a real estate investor that's growing your portfolio for yourself, your partners, um, you obviously are tapping into that other path, right? You're delivering value added um, apartments through your large multifamily assets for tenants and renters. So, with that said, um, let me ask this question. Your primary focus is to acquire, own, add value to multifamily for the long term. You're not doing what some others are doing, which is like flipping them at some point in time, exiting, and then rinse, repeat, recycle. Correct?
Correct. I've
Why is
done,
that?
yeah,
Yeah,
I've done a vast array of things. I've done flipping as well, but our niche
have
is anybody who studies history knows that the true wealth comes from buy and hold and having
yeah.
real estate for the long haul. So we stick to that.
Okay,
We have hundreds of doors across the United States. Basically, if you ask what is my job is to go into the next area that you don't know about yet, and through my due diligence and through running the numbers and speaking to local government officials, knowing that there's going to be stuff going on there and buying like crazy.
yeah,
Okay, and then kind of rinse and repeat. So
yeah.
we buy and hold. We started out small. Obviously, we started with singles, duplexes, and now we do 40 plus units at a time. So
You answered my next question, which is, well, how'd you start? So
yeah,
you
so
dropped,
we
yeah,
right,
you
yeah,
dropped the
I
start of your journey, which is you started small and then built big.
yes, we started originally it was just me and my girlfriend who is not my wife. So we purchased in Pennsylvania. We started
Okay,
purchasing in specifically in the Pittsburgh markets. And after several years of there and being there, we shifted gears to North Carolina. And then from North Carolina, we went to Tennessee. and and so on and so on. So we basically, you know, like I said earlier, my main job is to be able to find value add multifamily properties and commercial. We I mean it's mostly multifamily, but we do have some commercial as well. Our
okay,
actually one of our latest acquisitions is a commercial building value add,
okay,
and coming in there whether it's and when I say value add, I mean anything that could be mismanaged or the occupancy is fairly low for whatever reason, or fixer upper.
yeah,
So anything of those sorts, where my contacts will reach out to me and say, "Steve, we have an available property. If you would have any interest in looking at it,
yeah,
and we'll check it out, and within 24 to 48 hours, generally speaking, we'll decide whether we want to go or not." So I am up north, so we primarily invest in the southeast,
okay,
and the goal is just to take the money from the north, which is all of us in our groups, and to bring it down there, and just to have a nice, sizable real estate portfolio. But again, I'm into quality, not quantity.
yeah,
So I could have easily bought a lot more than what we have now, but it's all about finding the true quality assets. Because like we said earlier, we are looking to keep these long haul.
yeah,
So that's very important to me.
yeah. You mentioned something again to me in this live stream conversation, which is your team. Um, and I know by looking at your Instagram feed, Steve, that you are a big believer in team. So talk to us about why, from one of your Instagram reels, you dropped this content, and it so resonated with me. Which is, why is it important to have a dream team to support what you're trying to do?
Correct. So it's in my experiences, especially trying to be the jack of all trades is never going to work. It's time consuming. There's a lot involved. So I mean, I know now with AI it helps a little bit, but but needless to say, the dream team, and there's a reason why I call it the dream team, because everyone knows their role, everyone
Yeah,
specializes in what they do, and they
yeah,
can hit the ground running and be fast and efficient and be able to do things in a timely manner. So, if you look at all the CEOs we have all across the United States for major Fortune 500 companies and such, yeah, they're smart, but where are they the smartest at? They are the smartest at putting the right teams together. And that's what we do here. And that's what everybody I would advise do. So, assembling a team will actually mitigate several risks you would have taken doing things yourself, as well as time. Because what are our two most precious resources? Time and money.
Yeah.
So, in my scenario, just so you know how our teams work, I have my dream team, like I said, up north, which is the capital, my investors, and
Yeah.
my partners. And in the south is my dream team that I have, could be bankers, realtors, bird dogs that are always looking at deals for me,
Right.
property managers, maintenance people, everyone.
Yeah.
And, I always treat everyone with respect, everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm a people person. I love to hear people's stories. I love that a lot, actually. That's
Yeah.
why I enjoyed our previous conversations that we've had. So to me, getting to know the people on a deeper level also helps and really creates that dream team. I'm not here just to whip people together and kind of use them for something and call it a day. I'm like I said before, I'm in it for the long haul and building a true dream team where it's a win-win for everybody all around. And John Smith knows my story the same way I know John Smith's story.
Yeah.
So it just creates that extra layer and element of, quite frankly, excitement for everybody to work together.
Yeah. Relationships are so important, both in our personal lives, but also our business lives. And, relationships always start with do we like each other? Do we know what motivates each other? And then, third, this is a key word, can we trust in the fact that we're going to step up and play our role and contribute to the outcome, a bigger outcome for everyone, right?
Correct, Bill. Actually, you nailed it on the head with that. It is a very relationship-driven business. I
Yeah.
mean, quite frankly, that's a lot of businesses, especially the ones that succeed,
Yeah.
that have the best success rate. It's about building those relationships, cultivating them, and just leveling up together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of that because me being successful on my own, okay, great. I mean, but what good is it when you're up there on the mountain by yourself?
Yeah.
So and for the newer generations coming in, that's so important. It's the old saying, two heads are better than one. Well, why not be even more heads than that?
Yeah.
So I don't mind that. I'm very open to that. I'm not in it for the quick buck or anything like that. So up north over here, New York, Chicago areas up there, like, sometimes it can be very cutthroat,
True.
the business world. So it's another reason why I love what I do, because we don't have to be that way. We can
Yeah.
help each other. There's plenty of inventory for everybody. There's plenty of opportunities for everybody. But my main goal is to make sure that if you do go into this specific business, that you have the correct mindset. That's why I teach it as well, because like I said, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's not an instant gratification. I don't think
It
any
is now. Yeah.
it's a strategic long haul. There's pros and cons going through. You have to weather certain storms. That's in any business. You have to
Yeah.
weather the storms. You have to be properly prepared, and that's why I pride myself in the fact that we teach that,
Yeah.
and we make sure that anybody that comes on board with us is in the same level with us, same page.
Yeah.
There's a perfect understanding of what to expect and not to expect.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that nice segue, this is now a shout out to all of you, social media friends, as you've listened to this live stream so far, if what Steve has shared with you, but also me, because I'm learning a few things along the way as well in this ongoing conversation and relationship with Steve. If you're thinking, hey, I'm kind of liking what I'm hearing, how can you, Steve, how can you help me? What would be your advice and call to action to them?
Sure. So at Albedo Solutions, we offer a vast array of things. So we have investors and we have partners. So for people that want to learn more, now everyone's different, Bill. So there's some people that, want to build their own real estate empire. There's some people that, like I said earlier in the conversation, just want to be a passive investor. So
Yeah.
we kind of have something for everybody. One of the things that I've honed in on and really pride myself on is the education. So if someone is serious about, investing in real estate, we currently offer one-on-ones with me where it's 8 sessions, a little over an hour each time, and we literally spend that time going over you, going over your financial situation, going over all things you, setting up expectations, as well as teaching you the actual real estate. And through the education, you actually get access to my whole team down there as well in the southeast. So it's a no joke, no nonsense, no BS, no upselling past that, none of that nonsense.
Yeah.
So it's for those people who are serious and who want to get involved, and they will have access to the same teams that I do, as well as resources. Because nowadays with technology, I basically can go into an area and within 10 minutes know more about it than some of the locals who live there.
True.
So we teach all that,
Yeah.
and but believe it or not, I don't even pride myself on that portion. That's more of the second half of the education, the real estate.
Right.
The first half is the more pivotal one,
Yeah.
going over your financial situation where you are at now, going over your credit, going over all of these things to properly, once again, properly prepare you.
Yeah.
So wherever you are weak, we actually hone in on that and spend more time on that.
Yeah.
So on top of everything you're getting, it's actually customized to you.
Yeah.
So if your credit is not great, if you have issues with a credit report, we're going to spend more time on that. We
Yeah.
go into leveraging,
Yeah.
which I wrote about in my book. I mean, you could write a whole book on just on that by itself. Luckily, we live in a day and age now where you don't need to have $1 million in a bank account to do deals.
Yeah.
If you're creative, there are so many different ways to leverage. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that's how I started. I actually started by leveraging. So in my backstory, I started when I was 24 years old. So I was actually making good money, but I didn't have the right mindset. I would actually take that money and pay off my student loans, which is not the best way to use the money. Anyway, long story short, so I didn't have as much cash available. So I got creative. I actually leveraged my credit. I had very
Yeah.
good credit. So I was actually able to leverage my credit and get access to lines at very low interest. And
Yeah.
because I'm able to do that, I ended up building a huge amounts of lines that I have available today, hundreds of thousands of dollars that are at my disposal today,
Yeah.
where I can just dip into those at low interest and be able to do more deals. Now, again, that's one example, and there is a discipline to that, obviously. So I want to disclaim that. I'm not telling people go out there and leverage yourself out, and do deals.
Right.
So it's about educating yourself and learning these and learning the ropes and having that discipline, because if you do have a discipline where you understand that, okay, I'm not going to get as much cash flow as a result, but I'm building on something special. And that's
True.
what I did. My mindset was I'm building something special. I don't mind using debt in my scenario to purchase real estate initially. And I'm happy I did. In
Yeah.
fact, a lot of my people that come on board now that have a lot of money sitting in bank accounts, I still recommend they leverage.
Yeah.
I mean, the clean cut example I always give is look at Apple, look at Microsoft. They are worth hundreds of billions of dollars, and they still leverage when they're purchasing assets and stuff.
Yeah.
So if they're doing it, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. The key is knowing when to leverage,
Yes,
how to leverage,
yes,
and also the key is, what's your next chapter, the exit strategy. So, audience members, as we wrap up today's live stream conversation in this episode of Selling That House, if you've enjoyed what you've heard and you want to learn more, it's real simple. We're going to give you multiple ways to reach out to either Steven or myself. If you want to scan this QR code, you will actually get to this episode that will most likely be sitting in my YouTube channel. You can certainly connect with me on LinkedIn. And along the way, if you need to have a warm introduction to Steve, because I'm going to be facetious here, because you couldn't find him yourself on Instagram or social, No sweat, people. I'll broker a simple conversation for you with Steve Kontos here. So, audience members, thank you for sharing your time as we've shared just some of the information that you need to know to follow Steve Kontos and maybe, just maybe, get on a similar journey or the same journey as Steve himself. So, as we call it a day right now, let me ask my music posse to play us out. We will see you in the next episode of Selling That House.